topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
This is success, successful women, hearts unshaken, powers within them, rise up high, the world's gonna listen, dreams ignite, unstoppable vision, successful women.
Did you know women represent just 3% of Fortune 500 CEOs and less than 15% of corporate executives at top companies worldwide? Have you wondered what the secrets are to getting into the top ranks, whether in the private or public sector? Do you want to figure out how to stop being held back in your career or passed over for promotion? Then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, President and CEO of the Executive Women's Success Institute. I have decades of experience in the military, the federal government, and corporate America. And my mission is to help women succeed and tap into their full potential. I want to reach 1 million plus women around the world to become the leaders they are meant to be. So if you want to move into a management or executive level position, or maybe you are a female veteran transitioning out of the military into business entrepreneurship, then reach out to the Executive Women's Success Institute at 301-693-3284. Let us get you on the fast track to success. Well, hello and welcome to the Success for Women show, where you can view us on Talk for TV and listen to us on the Women for Women network. I am Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, your host, and my mission is to help women accelerate the path to success. Well, today's topic is 5-star brand, and my guest is Mr. Grant McGaugh. Let me just give you a little bit about Grant. Grant McGaugh is the founder and CEO of 5-Star BDM, a business development and personal branding firm. His mission is to empower entrepreneurs and small to mid-sized businesses by combining data-driven AI strategies with human-centered storytelling. Grant is recognized by Legacy Magazine as a thought leader and super connector for healthcare professionals. He is also the host of the Follow the Brand podcast and TV show. In January 2024, he was named one of Thinkers 360's top 50 global thought leaders in personal branding. Grant has more than 20 years of business development experience with training in branding strategies to help clients build authentic personal brands. I would like to bring on the show Mr. Grant McGaugh.
Hey, how you doing, doctor?
I am doing very well. I am excited to have you here just to give us some great success nuggets for our business. I know that you are doing some great things with your retreats and different things like that. But, you know, this AI thing is just all over the place. So everybody wants to know about it. So we're going to pick your brains today.
That's fine with me. Fine with me.
Before we get started, though, I always give the standard bio on my guests. But I just like to ask them, like, I just want you to tell us what you want us to know about Grant McGaugh.
Well, number one thing I want you to know about Grant McGaugh, that I just opened up my office in my hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. And
Mhm.
I've been here, since last year, and it's been wonderful. I've come full circle. I graduated high school here in 1981. I have not been back to live here since 1991.
Mhm.
And it has been a whirlwind trip. I tell everybody that it's like living in the past, the present, and the future at the same time.
Wow.
And there's so much change has happened, but then not a lot of change. So you just kind of live through a lot of the decades that have been happening. And I
Mhm.
want to return with a lot of the things that I've learned because I've spent 30 years in Miami, Florida, and I've learned a lot. A lot of those accolades that you talk about is things that I accomplished while I was in Miami. And I am so happy about those things because I'm getting those things out to the audience. I'm getting a lot of the skills that I learned into the hands of people that need them. And that is why I'm in Omaha right
Mhm.
now.
Mhm.
I'm launching my Omaha AI Business Accelerator for businesses, small business owners in the Omaha ecosystem. And
Mhm.
it's really starting to take off. And I'm very, very proud of that. So I
Wow.
want your audience to know that about Grant McGaw right now.
Wow, and I tell you, it's exciting. I'm excited too because I saw the video of the new office space, the building. I was like, "Ooh, this is just beautiful." So now, is that gonna be the new headquarters? Or are you still gonna be operating out of Miami, or how are you gonna do that?
Oh, that's a good question. And actually, so I operate in three geographies in Omaha, Nebraska, Miami, Florida, excuse
Mhm.
me, and St. Croix, Virgin Islands.
Okay.
So I just came back from St. Croix. You kind of mentioned that in the islands. I'm not just there for vacation. I actually have business down there. And we are operating, building a business tourism product in the Virgin Islands that
Mhm.
I'm going to invite all of you down to actually do a lot of think tanks, some master classes to bring together small, intimate groups of people that
Mhm.
are subject matter experts, whether it's an AI, agentic AI. We're actually doing a precision medicine clinic in the Virgin Islands right now that we're looking to be a successful project. So there's a lot we have going on in the Virgin Islands. In Miami, we're also doing another AI incubator through ICABO. That's the International Career and Business Alliance. It's a Black professional group that's there. I've
Mhm.
been working with them for a number of different years, and we want to upskill a lot of people when it comes to AI. I know a lot of people, hey, they're doing it themselves, a DIY approach, but then if we can get really to you for you to acquire a skill set in
Mhm.
the area so you are proficient in the workflow that you have and building out not just text-based answer engines and chatbots, video
Right.
creation, audio creation, but now into the world of agentic AI, what you can begin to automate business processes at the same time. This is a very, very delicate time. We need to get up on these things. It's just as important as learning the internet, 25,
Yeah.
30 years ago, or Microsoft Office products and things of that nature. You have to have these skill sets in order to compete in the world now and into the future. So those three geographies is how I operate.
Wow, that is fantastic. I can't wait, and I definitely want an invitation to come to St. Croix because it's been a while. I've been there, but it's been a while since I've been to St. Croix. But I did see, I think I saw a picture of you. I don't know, on Facebook or something. Looked like you were having a good time. I don't know if y'all were fishing or on a boat or something like that, but you look like y'all were having a good
We
time.
had
So,
a great time. And my
mhm,
business partner there, his name is Anthony Weeks. We call SETI which was the St. Croix Economic Development Initiative and Caribbean American Single Economy. And
mhm,
he's got me involved not just with the locals there, but also the government there. So we spent time with the governor. We spent time with Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett as well, and talking about how we can get more mainlanders to understand the business opportunities that are available in the USVI just beyond tourism. So business tourism is a big, big thing that's
mhm.
there. And then when I talk to my African American people, especially you out there in Maryland, where you are a lot, this is the only place that I know of that you can have an African, Caribbean, American experience because the USVI is a part of the United States. It is a territory of the United States. It has the only, well, we have one other black governor now, I think is in Maryland, but they
Mhm.
have a black
Yeah.
governor there. Governor Bryan has been in power now the last 7 or 8 years. This will be
Okay.
his last year coming up. But there's such a push now. We have to make sure that we are aware of what's available to us. You don't need a passport; it's a part of America, and that you can have a very successful vacation and business opportunity. St. Croix is more the business product, where St. Thomas was a part of the USVI. That's the tourism product. So those are two different things that we should be aware of.
Okay, okay. Well, let me ask you this. What motivated you to shift from traditional business development into AI powered branding?
Now, that is a great question. I've been involved in information technology for 30 plus years. I cut my teeth in AT&T, Lucent, Avaya some time ago, and got into what you call digital voice technologies, or it was analog at the time, with your big mobile telephone systems and things of that nature, and watch it change to a digital platform and then into a voice over IP platform, just like we're talking on now, which is more of a conference bridge video conferencing. All this I was working on 25, 30 years ago. It's very expensive to do. It was possible, it's very expensive to do. But then over time, it's now become mainstream. You can do video conference on anything from your phone, your tablet to your desktop. This is the same kind of proliferation for a platform change in AI, or artificial intelligence. It's a platform. And because it is a platform, it's something that we will be able to utilize in a lot of different, what I call modalities of communication. There are two things that in the technology world that become advantageous for people in business. Number one, technology helps you to communicate better. That's number one. Number two, it's very fast.
Yeah.
And when you can combine speed and the speed of communication together, you have a very powerful platform. And then now with AI, you're adding intelligence on top of that.
Right.
Now you're exponentially changing the platform arena, in which not only are you communicating at speed, but the platform is what we call context aware. It's aware to a certain degree. It can simulate human thought and behavior. And because of that, it is a game changer. It becomes absolutely essential for everyone to become proficient in these tool sets and what this artificial intelligence is bringing to the table.
Wow, you are absolutely right about that. But what about for business owners or executives who don't consider themselves tech savvy, such as I'm gonna put myself in that category. What's the first smart step that we can take or should take to begin integrating AI into our brand or business development strategy?
And I will answer that in a way that you probably wouldn't think I would. First of all, you don't have to be tech savvy.
Okay.
AI of itself is not a platform that you have to understand the technology behind it. I mean, it's very smart, just like you utilize your cell phone. But I'm going to say you probably don't know exactly how it works. You know how to use it, but you don't know exactly how it works. So you don't have to spend a lot of time knowing exactly how the AI works unless you want to. But you do have to know how to utilize it for your business. You utilize your cell phone for your own particular circumstances. And you're probably pretty proficient at getting to the different applications that are available on it. And you know how to download and get the right applications that you need, right? And that's just from experience and working with it and understanding it. AI is no different. You're going to have to first understand that it's a tool set, right? But then you have to apply skill sets. And the only way you do that is you've got to become familiar with it. I encourage everybody to dabble. Take 10 minutes out of your day. If you're going to utilize a ChatGPT, that's just one large language model. It's a type of AI. I like Claude. Claude is a great tool. All right. You have Perplexity, you have Gemini. There's a lot of flavors that are out there.
There is. Yeah.
Right? But the only way you're going to know which one works for you, you got to play with them. And it's a playbox. It's a sandbox. So turn your downtime into a sandbox of experience. Because a lot of these instances, when you first get them, they're free. They don't charge you to use them, right? Over time, there could be a charge. Like I think chat's like $20 a month. And you'll see once you do that, there is a big difference in the responses that it'll give. But becomes like, you know what? Look at what do I doing on a daily basis? And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier about speed and communication. What do I need to speed up in my business processes to get a better result? How do I need to communicate better in my business. I'm just talking business right
Yeah.
now. It could
Yeah.
be also office and other things that I
Mhm.
need to do that in a more clear, with more clarity, in a modality that I can trust. Those are the things you start looking at. What is the best AI tool that I can use for that, right? So we're starting to see a fundamental shift in like Google search and also in social, because
Mhm.
the AI engine that's now in front of us can do all of that,
Yeah.
and then can advise you on the best type of email to send in that situation that you're in. So if you take everything in the context of what I just said, you're starting to see what you have as an assistant, your own AI assistant that's geared directly to you and what you do, because you've given it enough information to be customized and personalized for your particular work style. And it's
Mhm.
like, okay, and you tell it what you want. I need for you to be my assistant, and I need for you to communicate with me, or advise me on communications in my business with different individuals and relationships at the best possible way, through video, through text, and through audio. I just gave you a great prompt. You could probably use.
Yes, you did. Yeah, look, and I'm sitting here searching for my pen so I can write that down. Yes, I recognize that that was a prompt.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness, this is great. And that's what I was just yesterday I was talking to another young lady. We were talking about AI, and she's trying to do some things. And so I was showing her a couple of things that I had done, like you say, playing around with ChatGPT and a couple of other ones. And I was telling her, I said, when you put the prompt in, you just have to be as specific as you can to tell it what you want, so that, because if you don't tell it what you want, then it's gonna just kind of do it on its own, because
Sure.
it's sort of like it thinks on its own. And so you have to be as specific as possible. That's what I was saying. She was like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that." So I just showed her a couple of things that I had done, and she really, she's trying to do some things. She has some horses, and she creates these pads that go on the horse with under the saddle, and
Yeah.
so she wants to be able to market that, and show different scenes and stuff like that. And I said, well, you can definitely do that. That's not a problem. AI will definitely,
Yeah.
create. And I showed her one that I had done where I'm in this Western outfit, and I told it I wanted the horse behind me. But it's basically, I just said what I wanted, even to the color of the horse that I wanted
Sure. Yeah.
behind me. Exactly. And she didn't realize that she could do that. So it's very interesting. That's why when you started saying those things, I started searching for writing pen to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
sure I write that from. But it's just amazing what AI can do. So tell me, how does AI differ from the tools we were using, just a few years ago, do you think? How does it differ from that?
Well, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, that you were using what I call passive tools.
Yeah.
You're using
Okay.
tools that you're giving instructions, and it just goes and does them. Now you're starting to get something that can actually, what I'm going to flip to agentic AI, because it's very important to understand, well, what do you mean it's an agent?
Mhm.
It can actually perform tasks, multi-step tasks
Mm.
that you could not do, before, and communicate what it's done to you in English. I don't think a lot of people realize your chat GPT can talk to you. That's why it's
Yeah.
got a little mic down there and
Mhm.
tell you what's going on and what it's doing. Now you can give instructions for it to, what, I need you to deliver my emails to me daily. Show me what's the most important for me that I really need to take a look at, because it's reading. It's connected now to your Outlook or your Gemini or whatnot. So this is very important. Let's take a look at this and why. And it
Mhm.
starts to really make good use of your time, very efficient. So
Mm.
your efficiency is going to escalate.
Yeah.
But scalability is the biggest thing, right? Remember how long it took you to create a PowerPoint? How
Yeah.
long does it take you to graph a bunch of emails if that is what you were doing? Or you're going to now, I got to create a document. I got to create a Word document that I need to then present to a board or whoever it may be.
Mhm.
All that now can be speeded up to a
Yeah.
point where you can get that information in minutes, not hours or half hour. It can get you the template. Remember, you still need the human dimension within it. And I'll give you the stack of how what AI kind of sits. AI is in the layer of data and information. So
Right.
data and information. Above that is what we call context. And it's kind of halfway in context now, but not always. That's the human dimension, context. That gives you what is the story about? Why does the story have meaning? Right? What is the purpose of the story? See, data information doesn't necessarily give you that. Most of the LLMs, or large language models that we have today, what they're giving you is giving you predictive analytics on a mathematical formula, on the predictability of language and words and that type of thing. It's very, very good at that, but it doesn't understand what it's doing. This next wave in the context area and the experience layer is what we're getting to agentic AI, that it starts to truly understand what's happening. And agentic, and not to get too techie into this, but you have agentic AI, and then you have generative AI, which you know about. That's your LLMs. Above that, agentic, but on the side of that generative AI, it's called spatial AI.
Okay.
Spatial AI is going to be a game changer because that gives the AI context. What I mean by spatial AI, it understands that it's in a room. It understands that it's driving in a car. It understands distance and speed. It understands where it's at. This is how a autonomous vehicle can get around a city because it has spatial AI intelligence within it. So spatial AI and generative AI, and then what they'll call agentic, when it's doing multi-step tasks, becomes the robotics of the future. We've had robotics for a long time. We've had automation in manufacturing for a long time. We didn't have this type of intelligence in the layers of that manufacturing. And then now your decision making is going to be much, much better. Then you don't have so much risk in the decisions that you're making because the data is actually more precise. That's what's important.
Wow. Now, is what you're talking about right now, is that under your Brave brand blueprint? I know you have a Brave brand blueprint. So could you explain the key pillars of your Brave framework and how leaders can apply it to build resilient and authentic personal brands? And what you were just talking about, does that fall in under that framework blueprint?
It does, because Brave is a framework. It's an acronym. You got to be brave in this day and time to achieve the goals that you have set out for yourself. If you're not brave, then the external realities will overtake what you're trying to accomplish. Brave is a framework in which you can utilize AI as a platform, if that makes sense. That's a tool set. AI is a tool set. You have to apply the skill set, but it's also a mindset with the Brave platform. So when I written my book that you see behind me here, The Brave Path to Authentic Leadership. I came out in 2025, and it is a narrative that I wrote because I thought it would be in a format. I don't want to give you a bunch of textbook information. This shows you a journey of an individual that I work with that had the North Star goal of becoming a section chief. But by going through the Brave framework, he had to first understand his identity, the Brave, or I would call brand identity. That's the B in Brave, brand identity. And I had to say that is a mountain that you're going to have to climb to get to. And going up that mountain is successive steps of understanding your own architect or archetype, I would say. Are you a hero archetype? Are you the joker? Are you the ruler? What kind of archetype are you truly? What do you lead with, and how do people know you? Or are you the go-to person for what? You've got to have an identity that can now be grounded within yourself to achieve the North Star that you're trying to get to. The next level of that is called the R, or the resilience. You're going to have enough resilience. But resilience is not just like I need to withstand whatever I'm going through. You need to understand the skill sets that you're going to need to acquire to achieve the goal, right? And you need to have that very definitive. That's like market research. Before you go out and make a pizza parlor in a neighborhood, did you do your market research to see,
Right.
did you find out, are there 3 or 4 already in that neighborhood? Or is there a certain like that's there? You got to understand your success probability in the endeavor that you're going to do by doing your research and then having the resilience to achieve that goal, right?
Mhm.
That leads to the next step, which is what are the assets that you're going to need to acquire to get to that desired state, and understanding what those assets consist of. What is
Mm.
the audience that you need to influence, and what does that consist of? And are
Mm.
you authentic in what you're trying to achieve? Because if you're not authentic, you're not true to yourself as you're becoming. This is to be a process of becoming the state of your future state of who you want to be. Can you be authentic in that world? So if you've got your identity, and then you've done your research and you're now prepared to be resilient, and you
Mhm.
acquired now your assets, and then you understand your audience, right?
Mhm.
Now you're
Mhm.
getting prepared to be very authentic, because you got to pick up these tool sets to get to the next level, which
Right.
is now that V world in my Brave framework. And that's to becoming visible. That's when you become visible in the marketplace that you're influenced. That's
Okay.
when you present. Most people get this backward. They want, first thing they talk to me like, Grant, I need you to build me a logo or build me a website. That's
Mhm.
the visibility phase.
Mhm.
You have not done the work about brand identity. Do you understand the market and the influence? Do you have a differentiation strategy? Do you have a communication strategy? Do you understand your SWOT analysis and what you're trying to accomplish? Are you authentic in yourself? Do you believe in yourself? Because you have to have absolute belief in yourself to get above what we call the imposter syndrome. And that
Right.
comes because you don't have complete confidence in what you're doing. Now I'm giving you that, because when you get to the field, which I call, like in the digital world, I call it the digital Coliseum. Think
Mhm.
about the Rome Coliseum, right?
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
what we're in. You're competing in the digital world, which is highly competitive. How are you going to be visible? How are you going to get above the noise in what you're doing? You can't just throw a website together and throw it out there and expect everybody to see it and buy into what you're doing. You've got to have a true strategy. So Brave is a strategy, and that gets to that next level, which is the execution. Now you have the whole thing. You've got to be able to execute on your vision,
Okay.
right? But if you've done all the work, now you have the Brave framework ready to actualize your goal, to get to where you want to go. You use AI as an enablement tool to expand and scale to the level that you need to get to.
Wow. That is something else. Wow. So now you often encourage leaders to transition from operator to visionary.
Mhm.
What does this identity shift look like in practice, especially for small business and healthcare leaders? Because you work with healthcare leaders also.
I'm going to take everybody back to my high school days on that question. And in high school, I took a course that I really, really liked. I wasn't very good at it, but I got a C in it, and that was physics. And I liked physics. And people think about physics, it's math, it's science, yes. But what it teaches you is critical thinking, analytical thinking. When you used to bring your homework home and you say, wow, I got word problems. Nobody liked word problems, but
Mhm,
actually,
mhm.
word problems are the best kind of education that you probably can get, because it takes real world situations in which you can apply your analytical thought or your critical thinking to get to a desired state. And what the cool factor of physics was, it wasn't about getting the right answer. It's like, if you said 2 + 3 = 7, great. Show me why is that true or not true? They
Mhm.
want to see your critical thing. How did you get to that path? And based upon your how you put it together is how you got graded. It wasn't about getting the right answer. It's like, how do you prove your case? How did you see this? How can you balance an elephant off a cliff at 1,000 feet up without it falling over? And you think that's possible? Well, theoretical physics says it is possible. Maybe
Mhm.
it isn't, or not in the real world, but your analytics, your mathematics, your science, that you put all this together. Wow, that was quite an intricate process that you went through, and that's how you grade it. What I'm saying is because it's important to understand where is the human element in an AI-driven digital economy. It is in critical thinking, analytical thinking, problem solving. How are you solving problems utilizing the tool sets that you have available? This is what you need to study. When you answered me before earlier, hey, what do I need to really study AI? What you really need to study is critical thinking, analytical thinking, and how do you solve business problems in the world that you're looking to influence. That is what's most important.
Oh, wow, that that would make sense. That would make sense, and you would also be able to, if you are more into the critical thinking and the analytical thinking, which is when you even if you're using the AI, you could better frame your question too, or or the prompts to give it a better way to be able to respond to you, I would think.
Absolutely.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Absolutely. Knowing how to speak to machines is a language.
Yeah.
That's why in the world of website creation, the digital world, you hear of SEO, search engine optimization. That's not about talking to human beings. That's about how do I get my platform to appear in certain search engines. So that how do you influence the algorithm more or less? So that's human to machine language. So that's where we're getting into, and then understanding how do I get the best output. Now, remember context. Machines don't understand the human context very well. They don't understand emotion very well. They don't understand imagination very well. You have to give that context. Now, I'll give you an analogy like this that helped me understand it even more. What is the difference between, and I'll go to Star Trek. Everybody can remember Star Trek, right?
Mhm.
Around
Yeah.
1960s, great show, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Space traveling and all that. What is the difference between Spock, the first officer, and then Captain Kirk,
Work.
right? Right?
Mhm.
The captain. What was the difference, right? Spock,
Was
very
more
logical,
Yep.
super logical, very
Analytical,
mathematic,
yes, he was.
right? Right?
Mhm.
But he couldn't solve everything,
No.
right? He was half human, so he has a human side to it. But what made, and I'm gonna ask you, in your opinion, what made Captain Kirk so special?
Well, because Captain Kirk was, he looked at things from a different perspective. Spock had a kind of a one track, almost like a one track. You go down that same road almost. He wouldn't veer from it. He looked at it, and if he came to that conclusion, he wasn't. It was hard to get him away from that point of view. Whereas Captain Kirk, that's not the way he looked at things.
Well, and to your point, you were spot on because Spock is trained in data and information. Remember what I
Hmm.
said before, data, information, context, and experience.
Hmm.
Captain Kirk was looking at experience and context, and he would use data and information just as another
It's
viewpoint,
his point. Yeah.
not the absolute reality. Because of this, and which is so true, variables change. This is the thing within even agentic AI and AI. It is contingent upon variables staying the same. So at 3 = 3, 4 = 4. But in real life, it doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
Variables always change. How many times do you wake up every day thinking your day is going to go a certain way?
Yeah.
But there
And
was other
something else.
variables
Yeah. Yeah.
that happened that changed it. So the
Absolutely.
outputs that you get from AI is more or less a predicted outcome or a
Mhm.
possible outcome, but not an absolute outcome, right? And
Mhm.
that Captain Kirk knows this. That's not an absolute outcome. That's a probable. It could happen, and the closer you get to wherever you're trying to go to, it becomes very, very, predictable. But far
Mhm.
away, it's not as predictable.
Exactly.
So if you can think differently and outside the box, you can outthink any computer because they're not built for that. Your imagination is very, very valuable, right? And your experience is very, very valuable because it's not trained on all the experiences that a human being can have, right? I want to say one more thing, and I want people to understand this.
Mm-hmm.
A artificial intelligence takes megawatts to operate.
Yeah.
The human brain takes about 20 watts.
Mm.
We are very, very powerful, intelligent creatures. And if we start unlocking the intelligence that we have within our own selves that have always been here for many, many millions of years, we will be even better with our deployment and understanding the use of artificial intelligence.
Exactly. And I think a lot of what people don't realize, one of the things that you hear a lot is, that it's going to take their job away with, and different things like that. But I don't see, if you think about it, we had it way back. If you look at, when you went in the store and they had the self-check
Sure.
lines,
Yeah.
we were sort of dealing with it then. And even though they say that the self-checkout lines take your job, well, not really, because they still have to have someone there watching those self-checkout lines, before you actually leave out of the store. So
Absolutely.
it's not a matter of, like they say about the AI taking your job. It's that you have to understand how AI works so you can work along with it, like
I
you
can say
said, to
that's
help
true.
you to advance in what you're doing. So, because it can definitely do that. I mean, I see that, and that's one of the reasons why I want to understand it more, because I see the possibilities and what it can do. So, and if you look at it from that standpoint, then you won't see it as, oh, I don't know that I want to learn how to do that because it's going to, it's taking people's jobs. No, if you don't learn, it's going to leave you behind.
Absolutely. 100%. And let's put it there really in the context as we go through time.
Mhm,
There was the agricultural age.
mhm,
Then we went to the manufacturing age, the
mhm.
information technology age, and now into what I call the intelligent technology age. Along those different shifts, there was job loss and job creation. You're
Yeah.
not going to sit there and say you're going to ride a horse to work
Mhm,
because you have a car,
mhm.
right? You could, if you wanted to do that. It's going to
Yeah.
take you a lot longer to do it. You got to,
Mhm.
the maintenance and everything is different. So, and then
Right.
you look at the manufacturing age, yeah, you could have got by maybe without a computer. I remember when people was talking about getting a personal computer. Whoa, nobody needs a personal computer. Well,
Yeah.
they were wrong, right? Because a lot of people utilize these types of tools.
Mhm,
Now that means that there are always going to be some job loss. I mean, it changes the dynamic. You don't
mhm,
need that particular job function anymore.
mhm,
That's what happens, right?
mhm,
So it
mhm,
becomes different. You need
mhm,
to understand, I would say to your people in the audience, what are you doing? Where are you at?
mhm.
Because if, let's say, you're a content creator, you're a graphic designer, like, wow, graphic designer, well, people can graphic design now utilizing AI tools. What am I going to do? Well,
Yeah,
guess what? You can do a lot of things because there's certain things that AI generated art cannot do for the graphic designer can do.
can do. Yeah.
And you need to understand those things. So you become now a preferred or premium brand
Right.
in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it changes the dynamics of where you're at. And you need to understand where the shifts are. Now, go
Mhm,
back to what I said earlier. Knowledge workers are going to be in demand. Digital workers are in demand. People that can problem solve
mhm,
in demand,
mhm.
right? So if you're still doing something rudimentary that, yeah, potentially a robot could do that, but you
Mhm.
probably would want the robot to do that because you don't want to do that anyway. So you
Anyway,
do something
absolutely.
else.
Absolutely. But what's also so funny, when you mentioned about Star Trek and all of that, think about it. When you back all those years when Star Trek first came out, what did they have? The flip phones. We
Sure
weren't
did.
using flip phones then.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
now we have the flip phones, the thing in Ahora's ear.
yeah.
That we weren't doing that, but now we are. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that that they created in these movies sometimes that now we are actually using. Somebody had that vision
Mhm.
and they started, and now we're all using this stuff. And
What
so
you're saying right now, I will stop you there because that's so important.
mhm,
Understanding the creative process,
mhm.
that from vision, from imagination to vision to a created actual object, then becomes real. This is how things work. Yes, you are so right. Only thing we haven't really been able to truly develop at scale, I would say, we got
Mhm,
somewhat of a spaceship. It's not great. It's still kind of clunky.
mhm,
But when it comes to teleportation, things that we're starting to get into entanglement and quantum theory. We're
mhm,
starting to understand how to make our imagination
mhm.
real. That is the creative process.
Yeah, yeah. But you do have, if you remember the Jetson cartoon when they win the flying cars and all of
Yeah,
that, we
yeah.
do have the cars that don't need you to,
Now we
they can drive themselves and all of that. So it's a lot. But tell me this, since we know that AI seem to have all this ability and all this freedom, they can make all these decisions and act independently and all of this stuff. What ethical responsibilities do leaders have to ensure transparency, fairness, and trust in how AI represents their brand?
Yeah, that's very important. And this is part of the process that our laws are behind. They're laggards when it comes to
Yeah.
certain frameworks and creativity. We're still trying to figure out social media and
Yes.
how we govern
So
social
that,
media
yeah.
use and that type of thing. We really don't know. And we have to get there. Just the same way, why don't you just have cars running all over the place without any lights, right? Any
Mhm.
traffic lights? Because you run into each other. And that's what will happen. We'll
Mm,
just end up running into each other and crashing and just chaos if you don't have guardrails in place. They're
mm,
trying to catch up. They will, but it comes down to the individual again, responsibility, accountability of what you are developing and what you are using and how you're going to utilize hopefully your AI for the greater good, and not the opposite. There are obviously other people, but usually they are in the minority, but they can cause a lot of angst, and unfortunately, they get most of the headlines. As someone told me so long ago, and I was so happy that they referred this to me. Most news outlets, and I'll say this, is that they focus on the most negative thing
oh,
that's
yeah.
happening in the day. Yet
Yes.
95% of the people do not aren't involved in anything like that. And they're doing some very beautiful things.
Right.
We just aren't aware of it because we don't report on it.
Exactly.
And so now you can find out these things. And that or information is not in the or so palm of the hand of certain outlets of news media. It's proliferated, but we have to have enough initiative within ourselves to go out and garner that information, to go out and find out about those experiences, to know the truth about things. And the more that we do that, the better off we're going to be. And then the better use of our AI tools will get us to a point where governance, we got to have that. Policies, you got to have those kinds of things.
Mhm.
But we have ethical use of this very enormous tool set that is actually changing the human and business dynamic.
Wow. Well, Grant, we are coming up almost to the end of the show. I mean, it's just so many other questions I could ask. We just don't have the time to go over it. But I just want to thank you so much for coming on and sharing the information that you have shared with us. So I know you mentioned your book. Would you tell us where we can get your book? Also, if there's any any training, whatever that you have coming up that you'd like us to know about, let us know that. And also let us know how, if my viewers and listeners want to reach out to you, how can they do so?
Wow, I think I'll get all of that in one shot. So to buy the book, and I encourage you to do so, you can get it on Amazon right now. Just put in Amazon, First Light, Grant McGaw, The Brave Path to Authentic Leadership. It'll come right up. You can get the Kindle version right now. I think for certain people, it's free. So it doesn't cost you anything to get the digital version. To get the hardbacks, it's about $23. And for the softbacks, like $15. Very simple to do that, right?
Okay.
And if you want an autographed copy, just email me and I'll send that out to you. There's additional cost for that. There have our certain limited edition VIP books for those types of
So
things.
that, like, the book is free, but your autograph.
There you go. The book is free, but I got shipping, handling, all that stuff. Things like these,
Okay, I got it.
no worries. And then I do have some couple things coming up. So in February, we'll be launching the ICABA AI Accelerator for business users as well as office workers for productivity tools. Look for that. It'll be coming out in February. ICABA is ICABA, ICABA World Network. You'll be able to see information right there. I'll maybe I get that information over to you.
Okay.
And also in Omaha, we'll be doing that probably in the March timeframe. That'll be the AI Business Accelerator from all small businesses. I'm looking forward to that as well. You can go to 5-Star BDM. That's number 5. That's star, STARBDM.com. And you can find out a lot of things out there. And I'm surprised you haven't talked about my podcast at this point.
Oh, yeah. That's the brand. What was
All the brand.
Yeah, that's right. You do have the podcast, and I actually need to tune in a little more on that to get some of your tidbits, because I know that you all talk about AI and different things on there too. So yeah, definitely need to tune in to your podcast, and tell us the name of it again and when
Follow the Brand podcast comes out every week. It's available just about on every single audio podcast station out there. It comes on Follow the Brand TV on YouTube, and I go LinkedIn Live every week. We've just got an award from FeedSpot. We are ranked number 1 in the world. Number 1 in the world for personal brand podcast by FeedSpot. I'm loving it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, we're number 16, so we're gonna try to knock you out of that number 1 slot. Okay. Thank you so much, Grant. It has been a pleasure having you here. Thank you. Do totally appreciate it. And we're definitely going to have to bring you back to give us some more nuggets on AI, because we know it is not going away. It is just getting bigger. So we definitely need as much information on it as we can. So thank you so much. And I just want to let everybody know this has been the Success for Women show. I want to thank my viewers and my listeners for joining me today. And of course, my special guest, Mr. Grant McGaw. He was fantastic. If you want to reach out to him, don't forget, you can go to his website, www.5starbdm.com, or Grant McGaw at 5starbdm.com. I am Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, your host. This is the Successful Women Show. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Share this episode with others, because again, like I said, we got some great nuggets. We are here every week, and make sure to join us again next week. I love you all to life. And as always, be well and stay safe out there.
This is